Hello, hello, my hey, I got something to say. And boy, do you have something to say. And thank you so much. I really appreciate all your support. You're sending me so many people that I can't wait to bring on the podcast. Also, as far as Prop 'em Up Tuesday and names in the jar for LinkedIn, oh my goodness, keep them coming. There's so many amazing humans in the world. And speaking of amazing humans, I think this woman's name is going to have to be added to the jar in case she hasn't seen it. The prop 'em up jar of all the amazing humans. Laura Manion is in the house. How are you, Laura?
I'm good, Sandy. How are you? I'm so happy to be here.
I'm excited it worked out. I think we had a few times that we had to reschedule, but we made it work, baby.
We made it. We're here.
All right, let's get into your power statement because I got a lot of questions about this one. You belong in the room, and when you get there, bring others with you. So I want to dive in first of why this means something to you. Of all the things you could have picked, why'd you pick this one? And then I'll ask the questions for it.
Sure. So I think for myself, especially for a lot of women, younger women, we talk about imposter syndrome. For me, I took this job and other jobs that I've had very young, and I'm usually the only woman in the room or the youngest person in the room. So it was me reassuring myself, on a daily basis, you belong here and you need to have confidence that you can speak up and participate. And so that's always something I am mindful of, is reminding myself of that. And then also just when you are in that room, making sure you're bringing those behind you. So, a power woman is somebody who brings women with her. And that to me is very important, to always be singing praises of my girlfriends or my colleagues or my employees when they're not in the room with me, to then bring them in that room.
Was it Brene Brown that first said something to me that resonated with me? And I'm very visual and I can see her, Laura, saying, listen, when I'm in the spotlight, I'm confident. Bring it on. But when somebody else is there, I'm just going to keep shining the light on them. And I think that's the sign of confidence
Yeah. Yeah.
and that there is room for everyone.
There is. I have a group of professional girlfriends. We all do different jobs. But when we get together, we're helping each other, we're promoting each other. We're always saying, hey, I need to connect you with this person. And it's been the best group of friends I've ever had, really. And just making sure that we're all cheerleading each other and supporting one another, and making sure that we're getting business out of it, which is the best part of it.
So I had a few questions about this, and so we might as well just dive into it. We're going to get to your bio, but I had a few women say that they have a group like that, but now and then somebody else sneaks in there, and they can see that they're just always asking them for connections, and it's not give receive, and it's not coming from an abundant mindset. They want to know if you ever had to deal with that and how.
Yeah, I think for the most part, I'm a pretty good judge of character. So this group has started about 4 years ago, and it's still pretty tight. There's, anywhere from 10 to 15 of us when we get together. And it's just good, genuine people who support one another. I will say, I just finished reading How to Make Friends and Influence People, and one of Dale Carnegie's chapters was about not keeping score. And I do think that's something that now, as I continue to grow in my professional career, is making sure, like, it doesn't matter if I introduce somebody to someone else and they had a deal together, became great friends, or something, amazing happened between the two of them. And there was no, kickback or credit my way. I just think I'm now confident enough in my life and my career. Like, I'm just happy that that happened. And so not keeping score, even in your personal life, I think that's so important. My husband and I have kind of dealt with this as we've had babies over the last couple of years, of who's more tired and who's done more house chores. And it's not easy, but just remembering to just be happy that things are happening and it doesn't need to always come back to you is important. But also to answer your original question, I think it's just being a good judge of character and making sure you surround yourself with good people.
So, a couple of things about that. Yes, surround yourself with good people, but I definitely believe in the abundant mindset. And if I believe in what you're doing, even if you don't send business or people my way, I'm still going to send it to you because it
Yeah,
will come around.
100%.
Maybe
Yeah.
in the most unlikely way, it's going to come back to me.
Yeah.
If I
And
if I
I
am
believe in
on,
karma. So if that were to happen where somebody did end up, not being a great person, I believe karma will take care of itself.
yes, and I'm telling you, even when I kept doing things for certain people, just because I was like, oh, they're so great, I want to do it. Other weird things would come my way. It,
Yeah.
it,
Yeah. Doesn't even need to be connected. I just think the universe will take care of you. I had somebody once tell me that I would jump over a puddle for people who would cross an ocean for me, which was a very hard comment, feedback wise. But they said it with good intent of like, you're really trying too hard for some people. And with me, that's okay because, like you just said, I know it'll come back in another way. It won't come back from this person, but it's just building up that positive karma.
I'm going to have to use that. Can I borrow that?
Yes.
The puddle, the ocean. I'm very,
Wasn't the easiest thing to hear, but I know what they were saying. It's just like I do a lot for other people, and sometimes that always doesn't come back. But again, I think that's part of my growth in this professional journey of that's okay and being okay with that about some people.
yeah. It's better than what my kids used to tell me. I was a pushover. So, you're gullible. I'm like, yeah, probably. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to tell them a little bit about you.
Okay.
Laura Manion is president. That's right. President of the Chester County Chamber of Business and Industry. What? Where she leads one of the region's most influential business advocacy organizations. A passionate champion of economic growth, workforce development, and women in leadership, Laura is known for bringing people together across industries and perspectives to move important conversations forward. She believes deeply in collaborative leadership, lifting others as you rise, and ensuring every voice at the table is valued. When did you step into that role, Laura?
I started here in May of 2022. So I was 32 at the time, coming up on 4 years here. And it's been such a fantastic 4 years. I feel like we've done so much and there's still so much to do.
Well, just so you know, when I was talking about, I was like, God, guys, I have to join a chamber. I have to join a chamber. And I was mentioning, I suppose I got to figure out, I know it would benefit me. And when I mentioned your chamber, somebody said, oh God, was I at Society for Professional Women networking event? Wait, didn't Laura Manion taking that over? You definitely got to join that one. Come on.
Love that person, whoever they are, saying my name in a room that I'm not in.
Right? Doesn't get better than that, Laura. Doesn't get better than that. Okay. So I want to back up a bit. I want to go back to being in the room because, again, we had so many questions on that. If you walk into the room and you internally feel and decide you belong, what changes in you? Even before somebody validates you, what do you think changes in you?
We just recently had like a 250 person event and I got up to welcome the crowd. And, beginning of that speech, I was like, whew, this is a lot. By the end of that speech, I was like, that was the best introduction I've ever given at a chamber event. And it was because I truly felt so passionate about what I was talking about. You mentioned in the bio, we're an advocacy organization. It was an event about affordable housing, which is something very near and dear to my heart. And I think it was like halfway through the speech where I just looked up and I was like, wow, I'm killing it. And I
Well,
just like, this is what I'm good at. It's the advocacy. I've done so many press conferences. I've testified in hearings in the House and Senate in our state capitol. I've gone to Washington. And every time I lead into that, I always talk to my husband. I'm like, I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous. And I think it's when I finally get there and get in the driver's seat and I'm just like ready to go. And I'm like, oh, right. I know this. I belong here. Back to my initial power statement. And just having the confidence to be like, yeah, this is what I'm good at. This is my jam. And so I think it's just that attitude mindset change halfway through where it's not natural to me. And I really have to say to myself, you're good at this. And so that that change in attitude as I'm in the middle of a speech is really where, that's my Superman suit where I'm like, all right, I'm finally ready to go. I've done, I've done the pose, and I'm here now.
I speak a lot, and every time I speak, I still get nervous. And then I have to remind myself, wait a minute, wait a minute. This is what I was born to do. This is what I'm good
Yeah,
at. And then I'll have all the butterflies. But then once I get up there, I'm like, I'm good.
yeah, yeah. And like I think it's just like a whole like I'm in a suit. I look great. Like I was just in Harrisburg. I'm 9 months pregnant. I was just in Harrisburg in the Capitol, and I was walking around in my pink blazer as every man in there is in a gray and black suit. And I was just like, yeah, I'm killing it. And I just loved it. And it was just one of those days where it was like, I love what I do. And the fact that I get to come up here and advocate for so many different issues and people, it's just like, I feel really lucky every day to have that opportunity.
And she just dropped in, and I'm 9 months pregnant.
I'm 9 months pregnant. Yes.
Whoa, water could break on the air. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
we're three
Let's
weeks out, less than 3 weeks out from my third baby. So that part of, every day is just like, are we having a baby today? We're going to work, just parenting my kids, doing what we got to do.
okay. Well, we're gonna switch gears here because of how you lit up. I mean, your whole energy shifted. If I was in the room, I can't even imagine when you talked about housing and advocacy. Why is it so near and dear to your heart?
Um, Housing, public transportation, childcare. That's something I've spent the last couple of years just really honing in on as business issues. And I think for a very long time, people thought of those more as social issues. And it really does affect an employer's bottom line if their employees can't get to work because of breakdowns in childcare, lack of transportation, or the fact that they can't afford a house near where they work. And they're all connected. It is so important for business to think strategically about all of these issues and more, taxes, regulatory. There's so much going on. We advocate for 30 different issues at one time. Talent pipeline, workforce development, so many different issues across every industry. That's what I think makes this chamber so special is we have 600 members across every size and industry, and they all want something different. So I've really just enjoyed the last 4 years of coming to work every day. I'm talking about something else that, something different that I was talking about yesterday. And I've gotten very good at it. I've had multiple bills passed into law that I've worked on, or written in the fiscal code in the state budget. And I've really helped people. And that is, I will always say, why I love going to work every day.
Do all chambers have an advocacy program? Because I wasn't familiar with that.
No, we're one of the few in the state that is as active as we are. Chambers do a lot of advocacy work. Sometimes I think it
Oh,
gets muddied in the political world, but really you can be an advocate for good business without being political. And I think that we do that very well here. We are a very bipartisan organization. And we are, now that we've had so many successes in Harrisburg and in Washington, we're really looked to as the leading chamber in Pennsylvania, in addition to the Pennsylvania Chamber or the Philadelphia Chamber that does a lot of advocacy. But for an organization of our size, we are one of the best in the state, and have had some really successful wins, which, it's great to be able to point to those and say, this is what we've done as an organization with our partners. Um, and so that's, I think, what makes us so special as a chamber.
Yeah, and the fact that you're able to do it and not be political,
Yeah.
hats off, man. I mean, that's freaking awesome. I mean,
It
right
is
there's a
not an
huge
easy
topic.
task, not easy by any means, but
Heck
I think
no.
from my perspective, I always try to take an educational approach, like how this affects your business, whether it's the legalization of recreational marijuana, or the healthcare industry or financial industry is highly regulated, or this is why there's a shortage of childcare workers. Like, everything is an education. And sometimes, Sandy, I'm going to upset somebody with whatever information we put out. But it's always just coming at it from a good place of, we're just trying to educate, and that might not be how you see it, but this is how it is a business issue and we're framing it.
I mean, you're trying the best you can to keep the emotion out of it and say,
Yeah,
if these are the facts and this
just
is
small
how it
balls and
happens.
strikes. Yes.
That's incredible. It really is. And I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I could hug you. All right. Share the credit publicly. I want to go into this because people know that. You hear it. But the fact that you say, when something goes right, name the people who helped. Yes, it builds trust, loyalty, and a culture of people that want to be a part of. So why, Laura? Why isn't it done as much as I want it to be done? And I can tell you this, you're saying business firsthand. I didn't know this till years later. I was just being me, but I owned and operated health clubs for over 30 years. I didn't have hardly any turnover in all the clubs. I mean, they left, we cried, they threw a party. It just was an innate me. I just thought this is how you treat people. You give them their props. You don't take credit. You give credit where credit's due. You highlight others. And I thought, okay, the whole world is run like that. Guess what? I found it's not.
I think women, for the most part, operate like that. I don't want to make it about gender, but I've only had male managers previously in my roles. And I do think often things are pointed out when they are negative, or they weren't done right, or they needed to be done differently. And so I've taken a lot of lessons from previous managers who maybe were nice people, but not the best manager of people. And one of those lessons was, I didn't ever feel like people were celebrating me. And so every event we just had a big event last week with 250 people. Thanked the staff of the venue, thanked our board. It's so important to me that it's a collective effort. And none of this is about me. It's about the people who show up every day because they love this job, or they enjoy working, with me. And I think that culture is important. And we actually have an employee in every single generation. So Gen Z to boomer in the workforce here. And that's not always easy because there's a lot of communication differences. But because we value and respect each other so much, that's where that trust and loyalty, it is really like a family here. And sometimes you need to yell at your family and certainly, push your family. And we have a 27-year-old employee. I always tell her, like, I'm pushing you because I believe in you. And you might be annoyed with me right now because you don't like this conversation. But in 10 years, when you're having it with another version of yourself, you're going to understand it's because I know you can do this.
Okay. So they want tips. I
Hmm.
had a bunch of women who are in upper management. So we'll go with Sally Bell's question. Dear Laura,
Love that.
oh,
It's like Dear Abby, my first Dear Abby situation.
I'm laughing because there's a lot of superlatives in here, but we're going to leave them out, Sally Bell. Dear Laura, my boss, who just so happens to be a male, is completely opposite of this. He's always taking credit where credit isn't due. My employees, and I have 15 that work under me, say, it's your job, Sally. You have to change the culture. We're counting on you. I don't want to get fired. Can you give me advice? Ooh, this is a big one, dear.
That is a tough question. Um,
I don't want
I
her to get fired either.
I don't want her to get fired. I think that's such a tough position to be in. And actually, I know somebody in a very similar position who just got a new boss, and everyone is very unhappy with this person, but nobody's willing to say anything. And I said to this person,
Ooh.
you just, if it was me, I would want to know if my employees were unhappy. So I said, why don't you go to that the direct boss of your boss and say, we're all unhappy with so and so's approach to the team. And they said, well, we can't do that. And I think there is a need at some point to go higher and say, we're all unhappy, you're going to lose people. And when you lose people, that affects your bottom line because then you're losing good people, but then you're spending money to recruit, train, and retain the next person. Um, so for me, if I was that person's boss, I would want to know that there was, unhappy people on my team, but I also know that's a very uncomfortable position when 15 people are looking at you and asking you to do something. So I don't have a great answer other than I think being honest or asking for a one-on-one and with the manager and saying, is there a way we've gotten some feedback? Is there a way that we could address this where all parties involved, can have a say in the room and feelings aren't hurt?
I agree with you. Now, again, Sally Bell, this is just our opinion. You got to take it all in, but I do think you got to at least make an effort. You got to try to figure out a way to get to this human. And a lot of times I found they are oblivious to it.
Yes. Yeah. I think some people just don't know maybe that their management style is tough.
Yeah. I heard this the other day and I thought, no, this can't be true. That young people coming into companies are not getting the leadership training they need. They're not getting any. They're just getting thrown in most companies. Do you think that's true? I was like, nah, that can't be.
Yes, I've seen it firsthand. I've
Oh,
complained about it in previous jobs. I think for a lot of millennial and Gen Z employees that there has not been that managerial training. So then when these people do get into jobs where they are managing people, they don't have good management skills. Like I said, I've had bosses before who are great people, but not good managers. And I think companies need to sort of put a little skin in the game, put their money where their mouth is, and train your next generation of leaders. As we said, we have all these generations here represented. I've seen in a couple years we're going to have this great, retirement influx of people there are people not retiring right now, boomers and Gen Xers. They're all going to leave. And then we haven't trained these millennials who are moving up in the workforce um, to be managers. So you're going to find yourself with bad managers, and that's not going to be good for business.
so I know this is probably a whole nother podcast, but what do you think the top things that resonate with you of what it takes to be a great manager?
I think empathy is really important. as I said earlier, like it's a family here. We're a small team. There's 4 full-time people and 2 part-time. I just was telling someone recently, like I take people out to dinner with their family. I've had multiple members of our team over to my house and I've cooked them dinner and they've kind of seen the chaos of my life with our little boys and our dog and my husband. And I think it's important to show that side of you, that human side, that you're not just a manager, you're also a human being. So you don't need to invite every employee into your home, but maybe, I've taken them out for drinks or dinner with their significant other or their children and showing that humanity and that empathy, I think is very important for your people to really humanize you, especially if you work in a high stress environment, where maybe there are tough days. And then also listening. I've given this book a few plugs recently. There's a local author, her name's Christine Miles, and she wrote a book about listening that I read. It was the first book I read this year. Somebody sent it to me. And it was I think I'll go back to it for like the rest of my life as a manager of just if we are taught to be speakers, like storytellers. I'm on a podcast right now talking about myself. But we need to be better listeners and we don't coach people. We don't teach people. It's not part of the education system to be a better listener. And I think as a manager, that's really important.
I think it's really important as a human.
Yes. Yeah. Just like in general, you can apply it into your professional life, into your personal life. It's called the listening path. And she really equips you with all these different tools on how to be a better listener. And it seems so simple, but at the end of the day, it is so hard to be an active listener because most of us listen to talk. So you're listening to whatever the person is telling you so that then you can add to it rather than really internalizing what they just said to you.
I have so many growth books, I call them, but I don't have this one. And it's so important to me. It's so important. And by the way, I talk to other podcast hosts. This is a difficult one because you're on air and you can't have that much space. So you want to be an active listener and not just waiting for the question you're going to answer and answer. And it's like a fine balance of being able to do it, but it's my lifelong dream. I can tell you this firsthand, forget podcasting. I cannot tell you, Laura, how many networking events, and I love to talk. You know that. I love to talk. I'll be on stage. I'll go, yip, 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 yip. But time after time, people say, oh my God, we have to go out. We have to have dinner, lunch. You're such a great conversationalist. And in the 30 minutes, I might have said 1 minute.
Yeah, I've definitely been there.
It's because they had someone to listen to them.
Yeah.
Really, my son will say to me, Mom, don't even say, how's your day at the coffee house? Because you're not going to get out of there. And as much as I love to talk, Laura, I think my special thing that I do is just listen to people. Just
Yeah.
listen.
I would say my favorite part of the day is like when my husband and I get to that point of exhaustion after like we get home from work, feed the kids, do bath, bed, clean everything up. And then we just kind of sit on the couch and neither of us needs to say anything else. Like we're just like, all right, we're so comfortable with each other and love each other so much, but we don't need to say another word to each other for the rest of the night. But I would highly recommend this book, The Listening Path. I think you would love it. She would be a great guest on this show.
I was already going there. I was already, as my husband looks at me sometimes at night, he goes, oh my God, you have no words? I go, I have no words.
I love that. I love that because sometimes my husband, I've been in politics or government my whole life. So like my husband will be like, oh, let's debate this really intense policy issue that was in the news today, or like there was some Supreme Court ruling on today at 9 o'clock at night. And I'm like, I just want to watch Real Housewives. Please leave me alone. So I have no more words. I love that.
Not in words, no words. And my husband, he's a lawyer, and that's what he just walks in the door, and I go, and he taught me that years ago. I go, I'm out of words. I have none. I'm like, okay. And he's
I
always
was
fighting a good
that.
fight. You would love
I
him.
love that.
Um, oh my gosh. So I just started the new season that I ask people about their mindset ritual. And it's all so different. And some have them, some don't. But the people like it the most. And I can tell you, this has never come across my desk. You say, I don't, is this in the morning? But you said, I think about my boys watching me. I want them to see a woman. Oh my God, I'm going to cry. Their mom who works hard and lifts and helps others. That perspective keeps me grounded and inspired. Oh my God, it's beautiful. So is that just now and then? Do you do this every morning? Like,
No, I think about, I mean, I have a 3.5-year-old and a 2-year-old. They just turned 3.5 and 2 last week. And like I said, I'm having another baby in the next 3 weeks. We don't know what we're having, but I just think about these boys and, I want them to look at their mom and say, one, my mom's a badass. And a lot of it stems from my mom. My mom has spent her entire life working for nonprofits, and she's so ingrained in the Chester County community, and growing up and watching her and the respect that she has from being in these circles for so long, and people just love her and know her. And I want my boys to look at me like I think of my mom and just like what an incredible woman. And going to work every day to help people because it's the right thing to do. I hope they see that, and then they're in turn raised as, good boys, because I think we need more of those in the world, especially now. So my husband actually said the nicest thing, made me cry last night. He lost his mom about a year ago, and he was talking about how important it is for little boys and, men in general, just to have a great relationship with their moms. So that's really what keeps me grounded and inspired every day, is just knowing that my boys are watching me, and I want that. I want to make them proud.
so sad and happy at the same time. About your husband too. Okay, so do you get? I mean, I'm getting the picture here. What you do, Laura? I'm getting it. Do you do anything specific to keep you in that powerful, positive mindset? Like, do you journal? Do you take walks? Do you read? Do you chant? Do you dance? You get to do anything separate?
Yeah, I used to read a lot. That has sort of slowed down the more the more kids I've had. I used to be in the gym 5 days a week too. That was so nice. But yeah, I try to read. I try to stay, active. And also I just like love being at home and playing with my kids and being with my husband. So I'm very family oriented. Like I said, I have my group of girlfriends that we get together, we laugh. Belly laughing is probably my favorite thing in the entire world, whether that be with my kids, my husband, or my girlfriends. If we're getting together, we're belly laughing.
Good, good. So important. All right. We know this, but we still do it. So they want some tricks and tips. Replace comparison with collaboration. Oh my gosh. And I don't want to beat this to death, but I do think, Laura, it's a wee bit more difficult not to compare, because it's so easy to go on social media and go, what? They got what?
Yeah.
Or not, it's all, smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, there's always going to be somebody better looking, smarter, better dressed, and make more money than you. And like, I think the earlier in life you accept that, the happier you will be. I just gave up Instagram for Lent and like a week without it. I'm like, oh my God, this is so nice to just like not seeing trips and new outfits and things that people are doing that I have, my next vacation is going to be at labor and delivery at Paoli Hospital. So it's just, I think the earlier you accept it that like it's just the comparison game doesn't work. So just keep doing what you're doing and being you, and it'll pay dividends in the long run.
Okay, so I've heard a lot throughout my podcasting in 17 years, but I gave up Instagram for Lent. Oh my God. I have to post that somewhere on LinkedIn.
Couple years in a row now. It's such a nice long, it's 40 days of just
Oh
you don't have to look at other people's stuff and be like, damn, my life stinks.
God. I don't even know where to go from that. Okay.
We could do another podcast about that.
Well, for me, that's everyone has their jam. I, I use social media for business, but it wouldn't be like I'm not a scroller. Like I don't care. Like
Yeah, see, like
I
I'll
have
scroll. I will scroll, or like I have a bad habit of going on Reddit and reading Reddit threads.
oh, that's my husband. He gets up in the middle of the night. Well, you'll appreciate this because your advocacy work. If you met him, oh my God, you two probably we just would be so on the same page. I feel like every night he's just going to drive to DC, but he's constantly on Reddit and then debating. I'm like, oh my
Oh
God, I'm
yeah.
bored.
See,
I'm
I don't
bored.
comment, but I do read. And like my friends make fun of me because it's usually like Real Housewives Reddit threads, but
Oh,
anything on Bravo. But yeah, I love a good debate between strangers that has absolutely nothing to do with me.
yeah, yeah. And he's got to point out the facts of why they're wrong about the, oh my God. Anyway, a whole other thing. So I'm a big believer in this one. We're going to end with this one. Act before you feel 100% ready. Raise your hand, take the meetings, submit the application. Growth happens in motion. I can tell you, when we're recording this, about a week ago, somebody called me for one of the big galas coming up, and they had a big name, and she backed out at
Mhm.
the last minute for fun reason. Good for her. And they called me, and they're like, and I knew this would be a great opportunity. They're like, Sandy, are you? I go, yes. They go, we didn't even tell. I don't care. Yes. I know. I'm
I
so
love that.
good. And then they told me what they wanted to do, and I was like, "Ooh, I've never done that before," but they already said yes, and I'll figure it out. I have a
Yeah,
week.
you figure it out.
Right.
That's like, yeah, that's where I was kind of going with that. Is just like, I think I've always been really impulsive, which didn't serve me well when like I would get bangs or dye my hair blonde or something.
Yeah.
But there was a time when I went for my master's, I applied for the program a week before the semester started, and it was just like on a whim. And that was 2 great years of learning, which I think has catapulted me in my career. And I was 6 months pregnant when I took this job, like not the most ideal candidate for hire. But it worked out. And it sometimes it doesn't work out, but for the most part it will. And you just never know until you sort of throw yourself in and see how it goes.
I have to tell you, for me, I have the same kind of personality. The biggest things that have happened in my life, the best rewards, was me saying yes because instinctually it felt right to me. And then I figured it out afterwards. It wasn't
Yeah,
something I thought of, I had planned. It wasn't mapped out. It was just somebody presented something to me and something went through my body to say yes. And then I went for it. Also, I'm probably one of the rare entrepreneurs. I am not a perfectionist at all. I don't have that in me. My
me
friends
neither.
wish I did. I
No,
don't.
there's certainly room for error in a lot of what I do. And I think it's being comfortable
Yeah.
knowing that. Um, yeah. Were
Yeah.
those bangs a good idea? No. So,
A grow out.
yeah, it'll work itself out.
There's no way you could take on a job like this and have 3 kids soon, and be able to do all you do if you were a perfectionist. You can't.
Yeah, no. I just know I'm a flawed human, and I have said to the staff here, like, as long as we're getting 1% better every day, and you understand, like, sometimes it won't go right, and sometimes I will make mistakes, but if you trust me and you believe in what we're doing here, like, it will be okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. All right. Well, I knew I was going to love you. I just knew it. I'm glad you came on the show. I can't wait for everyone to listen. But before I go, I always ask my guest if you could whisper just one message into every woman's ear tomorrow morning, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think just be yourself. I think for women especially, we're always taught to like try to be something else that we're not. And I think the more you just show up authentically, the easier it becomes for you.
I agree. And I think some of these messages I've been getting for women, they're like, is that too simple? I'm like, no, no, it's not. Because
Yeah, I as simple as it is, I think it can be applied in so many ways.
so many
And
ways
just like the the more comfortable you are with yourself, the easier I think it's going to be for you in the long run.
in everything.
And everything in your professional life, in your personal life, with your friends on social media, just be yourself.
I'm a firm believer we overcomplicate things. Okay, Laura, they want to find you if they're in this area, they're going to want to join your chamber. I mean, who wouldn't want to join the freaking chamber
I
on
am
Monday?
so.
At the front door. How do they do that?
Chescochamber.org, really easy. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm very active. Our social media for Chester County Chamber is very active. But yeah, join, get involved. We have an incredible group here. And like I said, everyone who works here loves coming to work every day. And I think that's a true testament to the value that we're providing.
Somebody did ask me, do you have to be in that county to join?
No, fun fact, Sandy, we're in 125 zip codes in Southeast PA. So we actually pull a lot from Philadelphia, the main line, Delaware County. We have a lot of overlap with all of those various chambers and networking organizations. So it's very regional chamber. You're never going to be in the same room with the same 50 people. I think that's a huge value that you get here. And we do a lot of collaboration events. I do a lot of events with the Delaware County Chamber, the Mainline Chamber, and other larger groups in the area. So it's we're big on working together with what some might see as our competition, but I just see them as our friends.
Of course you do. All right. Hey, I got something to say. Women around the world and men that support us. You are awesome peeps. I love you. I truly believe, and I'm going to say this for Laura, when Laura was saying, it takes everyone and all these people that are doing all these amazing things. I do believe that's 100% true for your organization and the chamber, but let's just give props to you. It's you who attract them. It's your energy. It's the whole way that you show up that people want to be surrounded by you.
Thank you. That's so
And
nice.
come on. I mean, that's just the way it is. You attract them in, you draw them in. Like I draw in the most incredible humans around the world. I forget that my husband says, there are naughty people. Yeah, maybe, but not in my world.
Yeah, exactly.
Please share. You're going to want to share, rate, like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. I love you. Until next time, you know what I'm going to say. Bye, Laura, and toodles.
Thank you. I'm so happy to have been here. Thanks for having me.
It was my pleasure.